What's going on YouTube? So do you ever wonder what a RAV4 would be like if it loosened up a little bit, it stopped being so conservative? Well, that's what you have right here. This is the all-new 2026 Toyota RAV4 GR Sport. That's right, this is one that has some GR capability and styling applied to it. And today, we're going to be taking a detailed look at it. So is this a RAV4 to buy? Let's find out. All right, let's kick things off with a spec dump. Now, one of the big things about this all-new RAV4 is that it has moved to hybrid-exclusive powertrains. You have a traditional hybrid as standard on all models except for the GR Sport, and then you have a plug-in hybrid as well. Now, if you choose the plug-in hybrid, that makes 324 horsepower because, of course, it has a large battery pack. Now, with this new hybrid system, you can get up to 44 mpg combined with front-wheel drive. And if you choose the plug-in hybrid, you can go up to 52 miles on pure electric range.
Now, if you're looking to buy a Toyota RAV4 or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. And of course, later on, we will be taking them out for a spin to show you the performance of these powertrains.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood so that we can start out with the exterior design as well as that all-new interior. So jumping into the exterior design, well, this is definitely not your run-of-the-mill RAV4. You can tell that as soon as you walk up to this GR Sport. So what Toyota has done is, of course, made each RAV4 kind of have unique characteristics. This is by far the most aggressive one. So you'll notice up here in the front, we have a much larger grille than the other versions. This is fully blacked out. And one of the interesting things about it is that it's not just for style, but we also have active aero inside of the grille here, helping this vehicle to have the most downforce, of the entire RAV4 lineup. Now, you can also see we got the blacked out logos, the GR branding as well, and the RAV4 itself here in the GR Sport is 15 millimeters lower to the ground than the other trim levels. Taking a look at our headlights, we continue to have full LED headlights with LED daytime running light and turn signal indicator. This will be positioned as one of the top trims in the RAV4 lineup. Moving on to the wheels, GR Sport comes standard with the largest size. It's a 20-inch alloy with a contrast look. The critical difference, though, for this model is that it's wrapped in summer performance tires, helping you get, of course, the maximum level of grip. And we also have the painted GR brake calipers. A little bit of gloss black around the wheel arches there, gloss black on our mirrors, and, of course, they have blind spot monitoring and heating.
Now, when it comes to the length of the GR Sport RAV4, it actually is a bit longer than all the other versions of the RAV4. It's 182.9 inches, which means it's about 2 inches longer than your average run-of-the-mill RAV4, and all of that is due to the different bumper designs as well as the lower body kits that they've done for this model. As far as design touches, we have blacked out window surrounds as expected. We also do have the available two-tone roof as well, which I think looks really good, especially when you pair it to this red option. Now, let's go ahead and head around to the back. Now, the back certainly is unlike any other RAV4 before, that is for sure. We saw it originally in a studio, and I was pretty surprised that Toyota made this into production, and indeed, here it is. So let's break down some of the individual design touches. So we have the traditional spoiler that every RAV4 has, but we also have another wing spoiler on top of that. That's of course going to add some extra downforce for this model to give you a little bit extra performance as well as more style. We also have a wiper through the back, RAV4 branding across the back. I kind of wish this was blacked out as well. I think that would look really nice to have that in black as well. And then as far as our taillights, we have the same taillights as any other RAV4. So these are fully LED for your brake light, your turn signal, and your reverse light. They have a pretty intricate design to them. We also have GR Sport branding over here on the side. And then most of this lower fascia is going to be finished in a piano black, a little bit of matte black. And as far as your tow rating, all models have all-wheel drive, so it's coming in at 3,500 pounds. And of course, when it comes to safety systems, this is going to have all of your active safety features as standard equipment. That will even include things like adaptive cruise control. But guys, there is a pretty wild interior waiting for us as well. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from sound level readings to cargo measurements, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, let's move to the inside first. Here's our key fob. We have the GR key fob actually, instead of the traditional RAV4, but regardless, you have smart entry as standard. Just grab behind the handle, that will unlock the door. And then let's check out this interior and all the unique details that you get on the GR Sport. So beginning those details, we have special seats for this model. So you'll see these are performance seats. We have thicker bolsters than we have on the other trim levels, and we also have a suede through the entire center section. That's going to help you stay in place when you're cornering aggressively. And then on the outside edges, you have a soft text leatherette. We have some red color contrast, so you get that kind of classic GR red and black, plus your branding up there in the headrest. The seats themselves still have 10 ways of power adjustment. You also get special aluminum pedals. Let's climb on inside. As far as materials inside the interior, it's mostly the same as other trim levels. You still have leatherette across the armrest and through the door trim, soft touch plastic on the top of the door trim, hard touch plastic on the top of the dashboard, more leatherette through here. This is kind of a gray finish as opposed to the black seats. And then down here on the lower panels, this will be hard touch as well. Let's fire it up with the push button start. One thing I'm noticing right there is that we have special GR badging on the gauge cluster, and you also have some special views inside of the gauge cluster itself. I guess we can go ahead and talk about that gauge cluster right from the start here. So this is the new 12.3-inch gauge cluster. Like I was saying, you have some special options that you can choose from inside of here that kind of help support you with your overall performance. This does not have the head-up display. As we pull back to the steering wheel, we have a perforated GR leather steering wheel. So it's kind of like a combination of the GR Corolla and the RAV4 steering wheel put together with special branding, of course. It's manual, tilt, and telescoping. We also have steering wheel heating. But just because you buy the performance RAV4 doesn't mean you want to sacrifice all of your storage. And you still have the same nice storage solutions, including the large center console, the special ability to actually flip this upside down and use it as a tray table. You have your two cup holders. You have double pads right through there, including a wireless phone charging pad on the left side, and a passenger storage shelf as well. Now this does come with the traditional shifter. So you're going to physically move it back to drive, of course, and bump over here to left if you want to activate a manual shift mode. This GR Sport comes with paddle shifters, and you can see the shift indicator right there on the gauge cluster. When we head into reverse, we also have a standard 360 camera. As you can see, nice look to this camera, including active trajectory, and it also still has the ability for the 3D spin when you go into this view. I do like that this is the GR in the camera view, not a different trim level, so they definitely match the graphics here to the car itself, which is a thoughtful touch. And we have an electronic parking brake with brake hold. Now, the overall cabin experience, kind of from here up, is again going to be very similar to other all-new RAV4s, but on the premium end, because this is an upper trim level. That means we've got the largest 12.9-inch touchscreen. This has Toyota's new infotainment system with the reconfigurable widgets and the easy-to-use menu structure. We have built-in navigation as well as wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The performance of this system is quite snappy. By the way, this has a special screen because it is a plug-in hybrid. You'll see more about that in just a moment. Climate controls are dual zone automatic. They're integrated down there in the bottom of the screen, but you have physical buttons for temperature adjustment. You also have physical knob for the audio system. This actually does not have the JBL sound system. You might have thought it would since it's a more expensive trim level, but you're not going to get that on this model. It's just a 6-speaker system. I also want to point out that we have 2-stage heated seats, but you don't have seat ventilation. That's not offered on this trim level. And by the way, if you want to learn about all the other trim levels, because this vehicle has a lot of trims and they all have very distinct characters, we have a lot of content on our channel that you can check out, various different trim levels, as well as how each trim level kind of stacks up against each other. So make sure you head over to the channel and check that out to learn more about the RAV4 in general. This specifically is for the GR Sport, of course, and in terms of the features, you don't really have any options. So you've got the auto dimming mirror, home link remotes, and one thing that you don't get on this version, because of course they're trying to save weight a little bit, is the panoramic sunroof.
All right, but we have got to talk about the rear seats of the GR Sport RAV4. This is a RAV4 after all. That's really the reason why you'd buy this, is because of all the practicality in addition to the Sport, which you'll see in just a second. Let's go ahead and hit the legroom figures first and foremost. We're sitting at about 38 inches of legroom, about 40 inches of headroom. Certainly without the moonroof, you get a little bit more headroom, so that's certainly a bonus. And in terms of the rivals, it is going to be less than that of the Honda CR-V, for instance, or the Hyundai Tucson, but of course, they're not going to offer you this level of performance. Now, I, of course, brought along the official Car Confections ruler. That's to see how much knee room we have. From behind Drew's seating position, he's 5'8". I'm looking at 7.5 inches of knee room. My feet can also slide up underneath of the seats, and the seats themselves I do find to be pretty comfortable. I like the fact that they kept the suede back here in the rear seat so you don't slide around as much, although the bolstering is not going to be very much here in the back. As far as the recline function, you do still keep that as well. And then we have a nice fold-down center armrest with 2 cup holders inside. Additionally, we have 2 USB-C ports, and in the center we have rear vents. So a pretty nice amount of equipment. You're not going to have things like heated back seats, though, so that's something to keep in mind. Now, taking a look at your door trim, soft touch on the upper part, leatherette all through the center section, and then the rest of it's going to be hard touch, and we do have a bit of door storage down in the bottom. Now, walking up to the tailgate of this model, we do have a hands-free power one, as expected. Let's go ahead and see how much cargo space you have when it opens up. And what you're sitting at is about 34 cubic feet behind the second row of seats. If I reach up here and fold them down, which there are not any handles to fold them from the cargo area, so this is how you have to fold them, that's going to give you a maximum of around 64 cubic feet of cargo capacity. That's a pretty good figure, but just be aware that that is going to be a little bit less than other versions of the RAV4. This GR Sport is plug-in hybrid exclusive, which does mean that you definitely don't have as much cargo capacity as some of the traditional hybrid versions, and as much cargo capacity as some of the competition you could also be looking at. Speaking of the competition, if you want to see how this compares, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. We've looked at all the compact SUVs on the market and ranked them in individual categories. Things like cargo space, interior technology, luxury features, powertrain, and performance. Of course, that's important for this as well. You can see all of that and sort based on what is most important to you if you want to make an informed buying decision. Now, back to the RAV4. Let's get our cargo length, width, and height figures. From behind Drew's 5'8" driving position to the rear of the cargo area, 75 inches of length is what you can expect. From behind the second row of seats, about 38 inches of length. As far as the opening, that's 44 inches wide. And then the height, about 30 inches. That's pretty good. It's a little shorter. Just be aware, it's a little shorter than the traditional hybrid version. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but as you can see, the floor is a little bit raised over the traditional hybrid models. And then as far as the load-in height, that's only about 28 inches. However, I really love this feature. The fact that even the plug-in hybrid will get you a spare tire. A lot of options in this segment are completely eliminating that. That's fast.
That was fast. So, of course, you know, GR Sport, right? When you apply the GR logo to a vehicle, well, first of all, RAV4 is pretty much the most unexpected of the vehicles to ever have that logo on it. But when you apply it to that, it kind of raises the expectations. Well, because of that, Toyota just gives it the standard plug-in hybrid powertrain. And this is by far the most powerful RAV4 they've ever made. 324 horsepower on board from the 2.5-liter plug-in hybrid powertrain. It's got a 22 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack as well. And you have the dual electric motors helping you provide that power to the ground. And it certainly gets off the line quite quickly. Enough that even with all-wheel drive, you can see the traction control light flickering.
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually the second version of the plug-in hybrid that we've been in today, and certainly it really is pretty shocking how quick it is. In this segment, you typically don't have things that I would ever describe as like pretty quick or fast. This is definitely really about the closest thing in this segment. Well over 300 horsepower, that all-electric torque to get you off the line. It really feels quite nice. You also have standard all-wheel drive, and compared to other trim levels of the RAV4, this is also going to have summer performance tires, so that's going to kind of help you put that power down a little bit better than some of the other options.
All right, we're going to try it with the traction control turned off.
There we go.
There we go.
Nice. That was slightly uphill too.
Yeah, so you turn the traction control off, it does, squeal the tires just a little bit, even with the performance tires, which I'm surprised by. But at the same time, it's putting the power down even when it's doing that. And yeah, I'm impressed. Definitely very quick on that overall acceleration.
Yeah, so like Drew was saying earlier, this is just the only available powertrain for the GR Sport. You'll skip straight to this plug-in hybrid variant. You don't mess around with the hybrid. The traditional hybrid variants have 226 or 236 horsepower with the front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive models, respectively. We do have other reviews on the channel that detail those other trim levels, so if you'd like to check those out, you can find those live on the channel already, but this one is basically just solely focused on the performance side of things.
So we're in Arizona in the desert. Obviously, there's not a great deal of corners or elevation change, but we found a road with a few corners here to try to test out the performance of the GR Sport. Now, this is not just Toyota applying the badge to the standard RAV4 and calling it a day. They did make enhancements to the actual structure of the body, specifically, I believe, the control arms, and so just some suspension tweaks in general to make sure that this actually lives up to the name. The body overall is more rigid, and you can tell when you go around some corners that body roll is certainly minimized.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot firmer than the average RAV4. Yeah, nice. Also, the steering, they did some work on this. It has a little bit more heft than the other trim levels, and I think very importantly is just that it's super nice and responsive. It feels pretty planted when you go around corners. Obviously it's not going to be like a GR Corolla, of course, but this is pretty darn sporty for a RAV4, and I think doesn't really compromise the everyday livability either. What do you think?
Yeah, so when it comes to ride quality, I've just kind of been sitting here soaking it up from the passenger seat. I definitely feel like it has firmer ride than the other versions. Like Drew said, they have done a sport tune suspension for the GR Sport version of this vehicle, so yes, it's a little bit on the firmer side when it comes to ride. That being said, compared to its rivals and in terms of everyday livability, I don't really think that's going to affect this model really at all. It still is quite comfortable in terms of its overall suspension, so I think they've done a great job of still balancing, the sport characteristics, so you can do a RAV4 like that and also still have a decent level of comfort. So I have to say I'm pretty happy with how they've done this. I think it's pretty much the perfect balance. Also, these seats I find quite comfortable. I actually think these are maybe the most comfortable seats in the lineup with these suede inserts in the middle. It makes them nice and soft. Let's go ahead and get our sound level reading going 55. We have it on fan speed 1. 58.8 decibels is what we have settled in at as our sound level reading. Now, we don't sit here and guess how it compares to some of the competition. We can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. And indeed, compared to the competition, that's not going to be like the quietest option in the segment. However, you can see we are certainly not in our home state of Kentucky, so here in Arizona, the road surfacing is definitely quite a bit rougher than what we typically test in Kentucky. So we do look forward to getting one of these back home and seeing how quiet it is. Toyota said they put quite a bit of work in making this cabin quieter for this new generation, and I do believe that to be true, because 58 decibels is not a horrible reading, even despite the really loud road surface. Now let's also hit fuel economy and range. So I think range is a very important part of any plug-in hybrid. They have improved the range quite a lot for this new generation. You can have up to 52 miles on a single charge in some of the versions of this model. However, this GR does reduce that down a little bit. So what you're looking at in terms of range on this model is 48 miles on a single charge. Still really fantastic numbers on this model, nearly 50 miles of all-electric range. And you still get 37 miles per gallon combined even after you deplete the battery. So, when it comes to practicality, I think this vehicle just kind of nails that aspect of it. If you want to have a little bit of fun, also still have a lot of efficiency and practicality, this GR Sport is a great option. And now let's get into our slam dunk and airball, our favorite and least favorite element. Drew, why don't you kick us off with the slam dunk?
We'll say the slam dunk is the performance and the driving dynamics of this model without compromising the overall livability of it. I think that was the key thing we were really checking for, because you wouldn't want a RAV4 that's too hardcore, right? But you want it to kind of strike that balance where it's still fun to drive, but at the same time you can live with it every day with your whole family, and that is certainly the case with this.
Now, on the airball side, what we're going to say is just some of the equipment that it's missing, things like the moonroof, the ventilated seats, the head-up display. I think those would be nice things to include. We don't have official pricing. We haven't talked about this just yet, but Toyota's not released it at the time of us filming this video. We do expect that this certainly is going to be a pretty expensive option in the lineup, so it'd be nice to have all of the goodies included on this. And now it's time to talk about pricing. Now, I wish I had more information to share with you, but at the time of us filming this video, Toyota has not released any pricing regarding this RAV4 lineup. And this is a new trim level, so we don't really have much of a reference point to go off of. It is a plug-in hybrid, so that, of course, will probably mean it demands a pretty high price point. It'll be somewhere probably between, I'd say maybe $45,000 to $47,000 as a starting point. But, of course, keep in mind, none of those are official numbers from Toyota. Just, hopefully that information will become available, and we'll add it to the video description when it does. Now, if you're looking to buy a Toyota RAV4 or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that'll connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool to use while dealer negotiating. If you'd like to take advantage of that, as well as things like our monthly payment tool, you can find a link to that in our video description, as well as a pinned comment down below. As far as availability, because this is a plug-in hybrid variant, Toyota says this will be available Q1 of 2026, so springtime next year. Now, buying a car is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's talk about resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, we took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Toyota RAV4's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'd be worth 64.5% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 41.4%. Now, it's worth noting those are better than industry average for all vehicle brands. It's actually the second best resale value of any brand that we look at, so a very, very good figure, especially against all of its competition.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several reliability studies from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you the most holistic picture. When we take all this into account with the latest reliability data, Toyota is rated as the #1 automaker in the entire auto industry.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, our reliability data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a big decision, so you especially want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Now, when it comes to your warranty, you do have Toyota Signature set up, a 3-year 36,000-mile basic warranty, a 5-year 60,000-mile powertrain warranty. You do also get 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. And guys, that's all for our in-depth review of the 2026 Toyota RAV4 GR Sport. If you enjoyed watching this trim level specific review, which we hope you did, we'd appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and I promise you won't want to miss out. If you're already part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.